My wife, 40F, told me, 40M, to leave, again, so I did. Edit. We have 50-50 ownership of the house. About 6 months after I lost my job, I found stable employment. I have now been gainfully employed for the past 2 years and earn a decent income as a researcher. My wife earns roughly the same as I do, but I cover all the bills and the mortgage while we live on her income. I have never withheld anything from my family, nor would I ever consider asking her to leave, unless she were to cheat on me or harm our children. We are married for 4 years, together for 10. We have 2 kids. We both work primarily from home. 2 years ago, I lost my job. A couple of months later, during a heated argument, I left the house to cool off. When I returned about an hour later and went into a room, my wife barged in. I asked her to knock, and she said, "This is my house. If you don't like it, get the F out." Then she removed her rings and threw them at me. I was flabbergasted. I went for a long walk and seriously considered leaving, but ultimately decided to stay for the kids. I came back home. We did not talk to each other a few days, but over time, our relationship stabilized. I brought this incident up multiple times, told her how deeply it hurt me, especially since I was in a very vulnerable place after losing my job. She never apologized. I made it clear. If you ever tell me to get out again, I will leave. Fast forward to a few days ago. We had another heated argument. She told me to shut up and said she did not want to hear my voice. I kept talking and finished what I was saying. She started replying, but I repeated her words back. "Shut up. I don't want to hear your voice." She told me, very clearly, the following: "This is my house. If you don't like it, you can leave." That was it for me. I reminded her, "I warned you. You do not get to kick me out again." I packed a small bag, passport, documents, clothes, laptop, phone, and left. As I was leaving, she opened the door and behind me and said, "If you're leaving, take your rings with you." She threw them on the ground. I turned my head, but the door was closed. I was wearing my ring up until that point, so I took it off, left it near the door, and walked away. An hour later, she texted, "I didn't mean leave home, I meant leave my sight. I'm sorry you took it that way. I feel lonely at home without you. You mean way more than this to me. I love you." I called her right after receiving the text. She answered but sounded surprised. I asked why. She said, "I'm in a meeting." I said, "Okay then," and hung up. She did not follow up. Later that evening she messaged asking if I had gone to another city, where I work once a week. I ignored it. An hour later, she followed up again, asking if I was okay, and called. I declined the call and texted, "I didn't travel to the other city. I'm still here." She asked why I rejected the call. I responded, "I didn't want to talk." She replied with, "Okay." That night, she sent 3 messages about the kids carpooling. The last one said she had sorted it. I saw them around midnight after already it has been resolved, and did not reply. Next morning, 18 hours after the fight, she texted me, "I told the kids you went to the other city for work. Please be in touch with them." I replied, saying, "I'll talk to them today." That was the last time we communicated. She does not know where I am. I've been texting the kids daily. Too long did not read. My wife told me to get out of her house 2 years ago during a fight. I stayed for the kids but made it clear if she said something like that again, I would leave. A few days ago, it happened again. So I left. How can this relationship be salvaged, or can it even be salvaged? Did I do something wrong and let my feelings get better of me? I feel like you've made yourself clear and she didn't listen. It's a classic case of FAFO. First off, stupid ultimatum. Second, contact a divorce lawyer before you abandon your home. Third, if you haven't been to individual therapy, you need to go. Fourth, so should your wife. Fifth, couples therapy so you can learn to hear each other. You have every right to live in that house with your children. Move back in. You don't want abandonment to be used against you in the divorce court. Your wife is just mean and selfish. I think you both should go see a couples therapist fr. It's as simple as that before making such a big decision like divorce or separation. Based on this post, you had 2 big arguments 2 years apart, so saying this can't be salvaged seems ridiculous. What has your relationship been like during those 2 years? Do you generally find support and joy with each other? Is there constant friction? Are there frequent fights that just haven't included the one particular sentence that made you leave? In the absence of more context, it sounds like she's willing to work on things, so I would recommend trying couples counseling, and I would suggest emphasizing at the start how upset you are about this particular incident. I don't blame you. That's a fucked up thing for her to say, and I would want to know why she thought it was okay for her to say it. "I didn't mean leave home, I meant leave my sight. I'm sorry you took it that way. I feel lonely at home without you. You mean way more than this to me. I love you." Then why remove the ring? I think she's realizing she fucked up in the heat of the moment, not expecting you to call her bluff. As for what happens next, this is something only you can decide, but you both need to sit down and have a really big talk about actions, consequences, what the future looks like, and whose house it really is. I tried to break up, he vomited and said he's going to end himself. What to do now? M. 36F. 25. I've realized we're on different paths, as much as I wanted it work. I tried to tell him this the other day, and well, he ran onto the grass and projectile vomited. From the physical pain this is causing him, IDK if he was forcing himself to do it. Regardless, I was shocked. It took so much courage, then to see him react like that made me feel even more awful. He thinks he's done something wrong, making it so much harder because he's been nothing but incredible to me. I don't have a single bad thing to say about him. I still care and love him. I gave the options to continue this casually until I'm ready, or his friends, or let go completely. His response was he's not gonna be here any longer, to look after his dog for him and forget he existed, everyone abandons him etc. I haven't heard back since. He's online all the time but hasn't been in 22 hours. I didn't think he'd do something, but I'm starting to panic. I hate that I've caused this level of hurt to someone. IDK where I should go from here? Just get him a welfare check. That typically puts an end to that bullshit. He's 36. Loudly crying OMG. You do not fall for his act. Don't be manipulated and coerced. Move on with your life. This is manipulation, pure and simple. Block his number. Move on. Just send the police to his house to do a welfare check. They will check on him. They'll check on anyone that is suicidal. Is there anyone you can call, one of his friends, his family? Call them and let them know. If not, call the police and have them do a well check. Then leave it alone. This is emotional manipulation and abuse. It's not your job to take care of him forever. My F24 bridesmaid to be F24 planned a girls trip without me. Do I invite her my wedding? I'm struggling with how to move forward after something that really hurt. I have a group of 5 close friends who I've always considered my core people, so close that they'd likely be my bridesmaids for my 2026 wedding. I haven't officially asked, but it's been understood. Recently, one of them, let's call her Anna, planned a weekend trip because her parents let her invite friends to their place. She invited everyone from our group except me. One girl even flew in from out of state. I've been talking for months about wanting to do a weekend trip with all of them, and I had no idea this was happening. I only found out when they started posting on our shared private story that I'm still in. I was literally the only one not there. When I started to distance myself afterward, because I honestly just felt hurt and blindsided, Anna reached out and invited me to hang out. When I said I couldn't, she asked if she could call to check in, something she's never done before. On the call, she said she wanted to make sure we were okay, but didn't bring up the trip until I did. She claimed it wasn't an intentional exclusion, that the trip came together last minute, and that her parents were the ones who invited her friends. She also threw in that I'm often busy, and they already had a lot of people going, as if that somehow justified leaving me out. I told her honestly that it felt like they just didn't want me there. That's how it comes across when everyone in your friend group goes and doesn't even tell you. She kept trying to defend it and said they'd never intentionally hurt me. When I asked her to imagine being in my shoes, her response was literally, I hope you can also understand my position. I ended the call politely and thanked her for reaching out, but it just felt like excuses. Later, she followed up with a text that said something like, thanks for chatting, I value your friendship and I'm glad we could talk through it. I didn't respond directly, just gave it a thumbs up. To me, it felt more like damage control than accountability. Especially since she knows exclusion is a sensitive subject for me from a past incident. It feels like she reached out just enough to say she tried, in case anyone asked. But I'm still sitting with the fact that none of them thought to speak up for me. What really stings is not just Anna organizing it, it's that none of the others thought to include me either. These are supposed to be my bridesmaids. I'm trying to figure out how to move forward. Do I talk to the rest of them? Let it go? Reevaluate this entire friendship? Right now I'm leaning towards cutting off, but I'd love any advice or perspective. Have less bridesmaids or even zero. You're under no obligation to have bridesmaids. They can still be invited to the wedding, they just don't have to be bridesmaids. Forgive me for peeking at your user history, but it sometimes shines a light on things that may come into play in these situations. Are these friends also non-drinkers? I noticed you're planning on having a dry wedding for religious reasons and that you don't drink. Sometimes people who do drink want to have a chance to just party and not have to think about people who don't drink. I say this as a sober person myself. I don't talk about not drinking, I just choose other things. But I have noticed that friends who drink sometimes act almost as if my abstaining is some form of judgment on them. It totally isn't, and it dampens their spirits. Do you think it's possible you were excluded for that reason? If so, would Anna tell you if you asked? Might be worth checking into. None of these girls are your friends. Time to move on. Just my opinion, but if she was your friend and wanted you there, she still would have asked even if she thought you might say you're busy. In my 20s we were a group of 5 girls who were all best friends. There were plenty of times just 2 of us would get together for lunch or something minor without including the others. But never would 4 of us get together and not consider including the 5th. Ever. I am so incredibly sorry to say this to you, but those are not your friends. Anna isn't the only asshole here. None of those girls thought to mention you? None of them? They all suck, all of them, and you deserve better. You are their friend but they aren't yours. The fact that they posted about it in the private group without giving you even a heads up is truly just disrespectful. I'd have a final conversation with them all but be truly introspective, take a good look back at your friendship and decide if this is the norm. I 27 female don't know how to deal with my cheap boyfriend, 28 male. I, 27 female, have a boyfriend, 28 male, who I've been dating for a year. We split the cost of nearly everything. He won't even buy my coffee without me asking. He's extremely frugal, to the point where he only buys certain vegetables based on the sale price, or splitting a cocktail. He nickel and dimes me for everything. I am increasingly bothered by this. I think the moment that was a tipping point for me was when he wanted us to split the cost of a Plan B when a condom broke during sex. And he even brought it up to me again the following morning. He says he wants to stay with me for the long term but I'm not sure. I think we make a good match other than how cheap he is. I make less than him, 75k. He makes about 90k for work and probably 80k from day trading, so maybe 150,000 170k in total. He says he wants to be with me long term, like marriage, but I just don't know anymore. I know he'll provide for kids well with his frugality, but as a girlfriend I just don't feel like I'm being cared for properly. I sometimes buy him gifts and treat him but he mostly just treats me on my birthday. He's not sweeping me off my feet and I'm not even a materialistic person. I dress simply and don't covet designer or luxury items. We have an international trip planned for August and I know I'll have to buy everything on my own. I think the thing that bothers me the most is that when I treat him he accepts, but whenever he pays for something he keeps a running tab in his mind. Also I want to go to medical school and he seems to be talking me out of it due to the length of training. He recently told me he'd stick with me if I did nursing, but not if I wanted to go to medical school. Your last comment about med school cemented it for me. You two are not compatible. Go to med school. Pursue the career you choose, not what's most convenient for him. Also I want to go to medical school and he seems to be talking me out of it due to the length of training. He recently told me he'd stick with me if I did nursing, but not if I wanted to go to medical school. This man does not want you to be great. He's not frugal, he's a cheapskate. Leave him, there are plenty of fish in the sea. Break up. There's a saying, mean with money mean with love. He will not change and it will be you doing all the compromising. Do you really want to be married to a man that you have to beg in order for him to buy shoes for your kids? Wants you to split the cost of your wedding ring? Wears you down so much that you just pay for everything? That's your future will be like based on your present. Leave him alone. I think the thing that bothers me the most is that when I treat him he accepts, but whenever he pays for something he keeps a running tab in his mind. I know a few people like this, and they will never change. It's not the frugality that's the problem, it's the total lack of generosity. It will show up in 100 different ways through the course of your relationship. Deal breaker.